Here's my recap on the first part of NeverButter's 15th BFD What If. What if Pencil survived over Fanny? Originally, Pencil was eliminated in a landslide, but for this What If, Fanny will be eliminated instead.
Battle for BFDI, Episode 2. Lick your ways to freedom.
Nothing changes even with Fanny gone, so Beep still loses and Leafy is eliminated.
Battle for BFDI, Episode 3. Why would you do this on a swing set?
Fanny is the reason IS won the first place in the Canada episode, so this is where things really start to change. Also without Fanny, the losers aren't tempted to use Clock. IS and the losers are struggling, so Team Ice Cube has an advantage. They don't use their transformation, and this saves Bombi from partially exploding. The first 2 teams to finish are Team Ice Cube and Ions. The other 4 teams finish in Canada, so now it's down to the losers and Team 8. It will be hard to decide, but based on the writing schedule, loser is buffed, so the losers take 7th place. Because of what happened that episode, the first contestant safe is Taco, and so is Teardrop, then Gady, then Ice Cube, then Saw, and finally Book. So now it's down to Dora and Lollipop. Lollipop was pretentious and self-important, and was also biased against Barf Bag. She was also one of the people who believed that Taco abandoned them. But Dora is a non-object. The last contestant safe is Dora. Lollipop's attitude has gotten her eliminated.
Battle for BFDI, Episode 4. Today's very special episode.
Not much happens this episode, so Death Pact still loses and Y is eliminated.
Battle for BFDI, Episode 5. Fortunate Bet.
Nothing changes this episode, so Beep still loses and Robot is eliminated.
Battle for BFDI, Episode 6. 4 goes too far.
The writing would change, so instead of Bell, Taco approaches Barf Bag or Bracelety. And this means that Team Ice Cube finally loses. The first contestant safe is Barf Bag, and so is Naily, then Bombi, then Spongy, then Fiery Jr., and finally Donut, so now it's down to Gelatin and Bracelety. Gelatin stopped 3 forks, but is still childish, and Bracelety is annoying. But NeverButter decided that the outcome would be the same as in the Canon episode 4, so the last contestant safe is Gelatin. The vote is closer than in the Canon episode 4.
Battle for BFDI, Episode 7. The Liar Ball You Don't Want.
Not much changes this episode, so a better name than that still loses and 8 Ball is eliminated.
Battle for BFDI, Episode 8. Questions answered.
Episode 8 is another episode with change. Match and Snowball are already reprimanding Bubble for not answering, so Pencil jumps in on that. And because of this, Bubble doesn't answer. And this time, Sapey doesn't feel the need to cheat, so Ions loses. Without Fanny, Bubble doesn't know that Match also doesn't know the answers, so Bubble doesn't have the push to confront her. Anyways, the first contestant safe is Bubble, then Lightning, then Ruby, then Flower, and finally Snowball. So now it's down to Match and Pencil. Snowball is being harsh towards Bubble, but Match and Pencil would get most of the flack, especially since they're in Bubble's alliance. This would come down to who gets more hate, but the last contestant safe is Match. And just like that, Pencil, the focal point of this What If, is eliminated.
Battle for BFDI, Episode 9. This episode is about basketball.
With loser in the game, everyone who is dead in Canada is alive, and Tree is not in bottle. And because of this, Beep and Death Pact will place higher. The first 4 teams to finish are better than that, Ions, Free Food, and Team 8. Death Pact and Beep finish next. Team Ice Cube lost 2 episodes ago, so the losers are up for elimination. This means that Free Food undeniably has the longest winning streak. The first contestant safe is Pin, and so is Coiny, then Fiery, then Cake, then Clock, and finally Needle. So now it's down to Loser and Eggy. There's an argument that the losers might be more independent without Loser, so people don't see a reason why Loser needs to be here. The Eggy is not very popular. Despite this, the last contestant safe is Eggy. Loser's popularity has gotten him eliminated.
Battle for BFDI, Episode 10. Enter the exit.
The loser's getting the rejoin when they gave their last loss, so Ions wins so he gets the rejoiner. NeverButter skips the rejoin, and Leafy still rejoins.
Battle for BFDI, Episode 11. Get to the top in 500 steps.
Match apologizes for hurting Bubble in episode 8, and she says that Pencil influenced her. And because of this, Leafy encourages Match and Bubble to restart their friendship. And with Sapey still in the game, 40 sees no reason to screw Ions over. Nothing else changes, so Death Pact loses again. The first contestant safe is Pen, and so is Remote, then Black Hole, then Tree, and finally Pie. So now it's down to Pillow and Bottle. Pillow hasn't done much recently, and Bottle's eccentric, which can be annoying. Bottle survives after an extremely close vote. There are some people that find Bottle's personality endearing or enjoyable, but Pillow did nothing overall.
Battle for BFDI, Episode 12. What do you think of roleplay?
Barely anything changes, so Team Ice Cube still loses and Fiery Jr. is eliminated.
Battle for BFDI, Episode 13. Return of the rocket ship.
This This episode carries over into episode 14. Battle for BFDI, episode 14. Don't dig straight down. Without Pillow, Deathpack could go for an Emerald normally. They would probably steal a better name than That's Emerald. But this doesn't matter as teammate loses and Dora is eliminated. Battle for BFDI, episode 15. The floor is lava. Without Lollipop, all of Team 8 dies except for Cell and Dora. Free Food has the longest winning streak, so NeverButter wants to put them up for elimination next. But this doesn't happen as nothing else still changes, so Team Ice Cube loses and Spongy is eliminated. Battle for BFDI, episode 16. The Escape from 4. Match stays with 4, but David and Snappy defect and join the power of 2. Since Match is closer to Executor than Lollipop is, Rocky will join the have-cots and Match will join the have-nots. NeverButter never made the second part covering the post-split, and her next what-if is, what if Profiling was in BFDI?